Welcome back, everyone, and I am particularly excited for our next presentation. Again, not to be redundant, but it has been an extraordinary few days for myself and our fellow governors, meeting with a terrific team of motivated, excited, focused, modern, technologically savvy group here at RFE, RFL. And once again, we want to thank them for all their time and for all the information we received. So that's why I'm particularly excited now to hear from John and a special presentation on Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty, on its progress and its activities since August 2014. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon and welcome. I am honored and humbled to stand here before you today as one of the two acting CEOs of RFERL, along with Nenad and myself. We are very pleased to welcome the board to Prague and to have you meet and interact with our talented and spirited staff. As you know, Prague is a nucleus of our broadcast operations, but RFERL stretches far beyond Prague and DC. We have 18 bureaus in our region with over 1,000 journalists. This afternoon, we will provide a glimpse of RFERL's breadth, but to fully understand us, I'd encourage you to visit one of our bureaus if you have not already done so. It's important to get a sense for what it means to work on the front lines for RFERL. It's been quite a year since we last met in August 2014. During this time, RFERL has responded with energy, creativity, and agility to the challenges in our target region, primarily the aggression posed by Vladimir Putin's Russia and the Islamic State militants. Our response has been a team effort involving many parts of the company, from programming, technology, HR, Pangea Digital, finance, security, market insight and evaluation, and legal. Our people are exceptionally dedicated to our mission and will go the extra length to get the job done with professionalism and excellence. We are a company that strives on challenges. They bring out our strengths, and through them, we excel. RFERL now reaches 23.3 people weekly. That's up from 17.9 million, an increase of 30% over the previous fiscal year. We are proud of this, but audience reach alone is not enough to measure what we do and how we do it. Let's begin looking at our impact with one of our most influential tools in USIM's public diplomacy article, Current Time, along with other RFERL highlights.
События дня в настоящем времени из Праги.
Current Time launched in record time, just 6 weeks after the project got the green light. UN Ambassador Samantha Power called the program a reality check against all of the Russian government's propaganda on the airwaves. One example, Current Time's coverage of the fight for the strategic Ukrainian town of Debaltseve provided a balanced perspective not found on Russian networks. The reaction from Russian Federation media to some honest competition was almost immediate.
О политике и не только латвийскому зрителю теперь будут рассказывать в новой ежедневной программе «Настоящее время». Эфир на русском языке из двух студий, одна в Вашингтоне, другая в Праге. Большая часть программы о событиях на Украине.
A few months ago, Russia's Channel 1 reported that Baltic affiliates were dropping Russian state programming and adding Current Time to their schedules. One analyst complained that Russia's, quote, alternative point of view was being lost. It was the best 3-minute promo we could have asked for. Current Time got more free advertising on Russia's first channel when the BBG's budget was announced. The focus was on Digim, our new initiative for news and information in Russian in the social media space. And in May 2015, the weekly Russian news program Vesti Nedeli showed that both Current Time and RFERL are clearly hitting nerves. The program rolled out rhetoric typical in Russian media these days, the fascist smear.
том, что центр пропагандистской работы будет размещен именно в Праге, нет ничего необычного. Первоначально станция называлась «Освобождение», так же, как и созданный нацистами Пражский комитет освобождения народов России.
In Ukraine, the Kiev Bureau is producing 6 half-hour video programs, including for the first public TV channel. Reverberations continue following a March report by the investigative program Schemes. It shined a light on a regional governor accused of using his political ties to enhance his business empire. A Ukrainian service journalist asked the oligarch why he had led a group of armed, masked men into the headquarters of a state oil company. The response? An expletive-filled rant against the journalist and RFE-RL. Days later, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko demanded an apology and then fired the governor. At the same time, Poroshenko also ordered private militias, like the one controlled by the oligarch, to be integrated into the Ukrainian military. In Azerbaijan, our contributor Khadija Ismailova was arrested following her extensive reporting on corruption connected to the president's family. While in jail, where she remains to this day, it was announced that she would receive the Swedish Press Club's Anna Politkovskaya Award for reporting on corruption. In May, she received a prestigious Media Freedom Award from the Pan American Center. Shortly after Khadija's arrest, Azerbaijani authorities raided and shut down RFE-RL's Baku bureau. Current and former bureau staff have been continuously harassed, threatened, and interrogated by authorities. In Russia, the memorial and subsequent march for slain opposition leader Boris Nemtsov was covered live by RFE-RL's Russian service for 3 days. The reporting brought more than 8.5 million visitors to the Radio Svoboda website.
With President Putin overseeing the investigation, they're doing...
In the United States, The Daily Show with Jon Stewart highlighted RFE-RL's exclusive video of workers hosing Nemtsov's blood off the street shortly after the killing. A crime which remains unsolved.
Because in Moscow, apparently CSI stands for Clean Sidewalks Immediately.
Under the Black Flag, RFE-RL's in-depth blog on Islamic State militants was launched in October. Since its launch, it's averaged more than 100,000 page views per month.
Some estimates say up to 500 people have traveled from Osh, in the heart of the Fergana Valley, to fight in Syria.
The recruitment side of the IS equation has been covered extensively by RFE-RL's Central Asian bureaus, from the fighters leaving Uzbekistan for Syria to the heartbroken families left behind. In Afghanistan, where RFE-RL's share of the radio audience is 44% of the population, a Kabul bureau journalist captured exclusive video of a mob beating a woman to death. The woman, a 27-year-old named Farhunda, was falsely accused of burning a Quran. More than 1 million Facebook followers viewed the video. 26 people were arrested, and 4 have been sentenced to death for the killing. RFE-RL's Radio Free Afghanistan and Radio Mashal followed up with coverage of demonstrations and also provided an important platform for human rights and civil society activists to continue discussions on women's issues. In Uzbekistan, in absence of a transparent and fair election, presidential candidates were invited to campaign instead on an RFE-RL social media page. Tens of thousands engaged, and more than 5,000 people voted, virtually that is. And finally, fun viral videos can pull in vast new audiences for RFE-RL, as we saw in April. The Ukrainian service captured exclusive scenes of a fox building a triple-decker ham sandwich near Chernobyl, and it exploded across the internet. Within a few days, the fox scored millions of views on a wide variety of platforms. The video by itself was certainly on the lighter side, but it was part of a broader, more serious report about the current environment around Chernobyl and helped it draw greater attention.
I'm sure every single person in this room, in this building from RFE would like to deal much more with these relaxed videos, like Fox making sandwich, but our life is quite opposite. It's not relaxed at all. As you can see, it has been demanding year for RFERL. Our top priority was launching new Russian language programming, providing fair, objective, balanced, independent reporting on Russia and the region. And we did this in 3 months. I would like you to present to you Kenan Aliyev, executive editor of our Current Time show. Kenan directed our Azeri service for about 10 years and did bring to Current Time passion and enthusiasm.
Thank you, Nanat. Good afternoon. Indeed, this was a roller coaster last 9 months. Current Time, as you know, it's called Nastoyaщее время in Russian. It's our daily 30-minute TV program jointly produced by Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, and Voice of America. And it's now carried by around 15 private and public TV channels in Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, Latvia, Lithuania, and we're also on the internet in Azerbaijan and Belarus, and we're looking forward to expand the project to Central Asia in coming months. In Russia, the show is also available on social media, on YouTube, and also on satellite. So our market is expanding, and here are some highlights of our work of last 9 months.
Since its launch last October, Current Time has provided millions of viewers in countries bordering Russia with a balanced alternative to the disinformation produced by Russian media outlets that is driving instability in the region. Drawing on a network of reporters, the show presents a mix of news coverage, interviews, and original features. The program has placed special emphasis on coverage of the fighting in eastern Ukraine. Current Time's exclusive video reports from Debaltseve, Shiropnya, Pisky, Avdiivka, and Orlivka have been picked up by Reuters, CNN, and other major international media outlets. Our access to the Donbas area rivals that of Ukrainian television channels. In May, we launched Saturday and Sunday shows produced in Washington and Prague, respectively. The shows immediately received primetime slots in Ukraine, Lithuania, and Georgia. Talks are in progress with several TV channels in Ukraine to launch a weekly talk show that offers a balanced, objective debate on current issues. In July, we expect to launch a Central Asian edition of the program. The program also showcases political satire and animated cartoons, a medium proven very popular with the audience. Throughout 2015, Current Time's producers plan to expand programming, market presence in the region, and satellite and online distribution. The fact that most of our broadcast partners have moved the program from late night to primetime slots is an indication of its strength.
This is just a short highlight. Of course, as you see, this is a work in progress. And I just will give you this latest information. Our latest affiliate, it's coming from a town called Mariupol. You probably read about this town more in the international press. This is a town which is 5 kilometers from the rebel positions in eastern Ukraine. And our coverage of Ukraine is very crucial, and we will continue to do that. We're also working on the documentary, which is coming very soon, and I believe if HBO is smart, they should take it and use it. So this is work in progress. Again, this is not a counter-propaganda. It's a factual journalism intended to provide Russian-speaking audiences with a balanced account of events. This is a big challenge, and we are ready to take this challenge. And thank you for your support, and especially I would like to thank Nenad, who was championing for this project, and also our colleagues in Washington at Voice of America.
Thank you, Kenan. Continuing on with our Current Time expansion, I'd like to invite Glenn Cates to say a few words about our new social media strategy. Glenn started out at the BBG as a presidential management fellow and also worked as a journalist in Moscow before joining RFERL as our digital media editor. Glenn started RFERL's highly successful Ukraine blog and has been recognized by The Guardian as one of the top tweeters in the post-Soviet world.
Thank you, John. With hundreds of thousands of interactions across social media on a daily basis, RFERL has already established itself as a prime player in our digital markets. But with more and more people relying on social networks, not just to share news, but to get it in full, RFERL is presented with a challenge and an opportunity. The challenge is to engage our audiences in places where there's often a lot of noise. The opportunity is that we're working to break through that noise in ways that our local competitors are not. Current time is expanding, and in parallel, RFERL is creating a new digital unit to produce cutting-edge content for Russian social and mobile platforms. The unit includes small teams, each centered around unique production approaches. The teams will scour networks and USAM products to find bubbling under stories and quickly create informative content around them. They will produce social native video for the growing zero-click audience. They will create a compelling experience for our curated video and news apps. And through footage versus footage, they will provide context for Russian and Western media narratives about major world events. Together, these teams will provide products that both present compelling content and target the platforms that people actually use. It is our job to provide our audience with high-quality, salient, and original content, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Thank you, Glenn. This last year has been incredibly intense for Radio Free Europe Radio Liberty's Ukrainian service. Amidst the war and 10-year ceasefire, the service has been transforming itself into a full-fledged multimedia operation. The service has now 6 new video and TV programs. This was no easy task at all. Our goal is to continually improve the quality of these shows. We are also very much proud of the work of our Crimea desk team. The Russian language Crimea site is among the 4th most quoted site on the peninsula, according to a recent survey by Medialogia. We would like now to share with you a short video highlights of the work of the service and the challenges we face in Ukraine.
24-year-old Ukrainian service correspondent Levko Stek has been on the front lines, providing compelling video reports from war-torn eastern Ukraine.
Після нетривалого затища активні бойові дії в Широкиному відновились.
Reporting from war is profoundly challenging, but especially so when the war is in your own country. Levko did not take sides. He slept in trenches with Ukrainian soldiers, but also reported about alleged problems with the Ukrainian military. In May, at the Lviv Media Forum, he received a prestigious Alexander Kravchenko Media Award for progress in journalism. Levko's experience illustrates the reporting challenges faced by RFERL's Ukrainian service, locally known as Radio Svoboda. Radio Svoboda holds officials accountable both for what is happening on the front lines and on the hills of Kiev. In May, prosecutors launched a criminal probe of the head of Ukraine's road police, Alexander Yershov, who resigned after our reporting on his and his family members' lavish lifestyle, including his undeclared house and daughter's vacations in Cannes.
Скажіть, будь ласка, тобто, чи правильно я вас розумію, що коли ви мешкали в будинку, ви не знали, на кого цей будинок зареєстрований?
And we looked into how Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko, one of the country's wealthiest men, may have used his presidential influence to shut down investigations into a land deal on a historic site in Kiev. In May, several members of parliament asked prosecutors to open a probe into the case. Radio Svoboda correspondents used cars, boats, and drones to get the story and to present different viewpoints. Reporters used a drone with a GoPro camera to record exclusive footage of celebrations on Kiev's Independence Square on November 21st, marking the one-year anniversary of the start of the Maidan protests.
In southern and eastern Ukraine, our correspondents have been physically attacked, harassed, questioned, detained. Some of them have had their lives threatened. Family members have also been pressured. The general security situation for our reporters is precarious. Despite all of this, my colleagues go on reporting, adapting, and innovating. There is important work to be done. John?
To reach and engage potential new audiences, we are developing a dynamic new program and projects on their preferred media platforms. Simply put, we want to be where our audience is. We'd like to highlight for you several of our language service efforts and new initiatives in this area. First up, Irina Lagunina, director of our Russian service. Before joining RFERL in 1995, Irina worked as the foreign policy and diplomatic editor for the Russian magazine New Times and the newspaper Moscow News. Irina?
Thank you, John. Good afternoon. The RFERL Russian service operates on 4 platforms. The site has on average 6 million visits per month. Our Facebook page has close to 350,000 fans. Our Twitter account is close to 120,000 followers, and our YouTube has on average 1.6 million views monthly. Even with very little free public activity in Russia over the last year, Radio Liberty YouTube viewership increased significantly thanks to live streaming of public events. Live video streaming of the September 2014 anti-war demonstration in Russia and in Moscow brought the number of views to 1.2 million that month. And protests against the imprisonment of the Navalny brothers, the Russian opposition leaders, increased viewership to 2 million in December. More recently, live video streaming of protests against the murder of Russian opposition leader Boris Nemtsov resulted in 4.1 million views in March 2015. Our YouTube page is now an official YouTube news channel. So looking at the Russian internet market, we see a real opportunity to capitalize on the growing interest and importance of video. Radio Liberty is pleased to introduce a new documentary news project. The idea is to take an up-close, day-by-day look at people's fate in present-day Russia, their personal stories unfolding against the backdrop of the country's current affairs, with issues and problems viewed from different angles. Here are 3 team members to give you an idea in their own words.
I'm a journalist from Russia. Here I see that official media has only one task: to support those in power. But every society has more than one option. At Radio Svoboda, we switch on the camera and render a portrait of time.
As a reporter, I like to get inside an event to show firsthand what's happening. This allows me to build trust with my audience and allows my audience the freedom to think for themselves.
Yes, public political activity in Russia is rare, and the government largely controls the narrative when such actions do occur. But through the fate of a person, through his or her eyes, we can form a picture of contemporary Russia.
The new documentary news project of Radio Liberty Russian service, Signs of Life, has just started. Thank you.
Thank you, Irina. Well, after Ukraine and Russia, let's turn to Moldova, a profoundly divided country where the service began a daily, 10 minutes TV news, TV program this fall. Our reports are about the real life. The show is called Clear and Simple. Real people, real problems. This is how we open the door for dialogue.
Dominika is typical of the heroes we profile, the stories we tell. She likes to enjoy her life, even as she struggles on less than $30 per month. After this report aired, she embroidered our logo to thank us for telling her story. This beautiful Moldovan is a beauty queen, but she is not Miss Moldova. She is Miss Portugal. She and her family left years ago, seeking opportunity. Now she is a dentist. She loves her family home and hopes to someday return to her native land.
Andrei a fost silit de exemplu să aleagă.
Twice a year, young men in Transnistria can be seen running and hiding. It's not a game. They run because it is draft season and they are desperate to avoid service in the so-called Transnistrian army. The service doesn't shy away from criticizing the government. The president of Lithuania had some advice for her friends in Moldova.
Be tough on everybody who steals from you and not allow any politician, any oligarch to lie to you, to steal from your country, from your people.
Corruption is a constant theme of our reporting. And one of Moldova's problems is that politicians like to play Pinocchio, thinking that people will not notice the lies. Our new Politigraph project will combine facts with humor to remind politicians that Moldova needs to tell its true story. We are also planning a one-month bus trip to ask real people to tell their stories, to help others understand the difference between truth and lies. In a world of confusion, we keep things clear and simple.
From Chisinau, let's turn now to Prague and Radio Farda, which is also moving into television, along with continuing to focus on its digital properties.
Hello, I am Mardo Sogam, Regional Director for Radio Farda, RFE-RL's Persian service, as well as Radio Free Iraq, Radio Free Afghanistan, and Radio Mashal. Welcome to RFE-RL's News TV studio. This is where Farda produces two different shows with two different virtual studio sets. First, this is the news set for our upgraded morning show, Breakfast with News. It runs from 7 to 8 a.m. Tehran time, both on RFE and VOA channels. We also record our 5-minute news updates here.
سلام، خوش آمدید به این بخش خبری رادیو فردا. من رضا ولیزاده هستم با مروری بر آخرین خبرهای این ساعت ایران و جهان.
These updates currently run from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Iran time, only on Farda's satellite video channel. We hope that they will air on VOA's Persian News Network channel in the near future. Ramping up Farda's TV operation to support VOA has been a great challenge and opportunity. It required building this new studio, training up our staff, and hiring new talent. It's been a true team effort involving multiple RFE-RL support units. Thanks to the BBG and IBB for support on this important initiative. I'd also like to report that Radio Farda's emphasis on digital platforms is paying handsome dividends. During the past year, web traffic to Farda's site nearly doubled, reaching 123 million visits with 251 million page views. In April alone, Radio Farda had more than 1.2 million daily page views for a total of 36.8 million monthly. And mobile devices now account for nearly 70% of traffic to Farda's website, with a majority of visits from Iran. These are impressive numbers, but we know we can do even more. In the year ahead, we hope to continue to grow our audience base and will focus on tailored digital content for both mobile and web. And the best news is that Radio Farda's excellent journalistic work continues to achieve international recognition. Just a week ago, we received our first gold medal from the New York Festival's radio competition in the information documentary category. We also received a silver medal in the comedy category, which brings the total to 4 silver and 1 gold from this prestigious competition in the last 3 years. And now, back to Nenad.
Thank you, Mardo, wherever you are. I'm pleased to add that as of yesterday, June 30th, Farda began airing its newscast on VOA satellite TV channel. I do not care if it's coincidence or not, but the fact is they started. And now let's turn to the Balkans, please. Another example of the various types of TV and video programming we are currently undertaking. Balkans remains a very important broadcast region for Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty. As political and ethnic tensions continue to rise in Macedonia, possibly jeopardizing hopes for EU and NATO accession, we are reminded of our continuing role in the region. RFE serves as a unique purpose there, bridging cultural and ethnic divisions and facilitating dialogue. This is exactly what we are trying to do with our new program called Perspective, or Perspectiva in local language. Let's have a look.
Thanks to support from the National Endowment for Democracy, RFERL's Balkan service began a new year-long TV project called Perspectiva. Using a dynamic and engaging format, the show seeks to address the prejudices, but also the concerns and hopes of the post-war generation in Bosnia-Herzegovina. The concept is to bring young people together from one ethnic community to discuss a topic. Then, an ethnically diverse group is brought together to take on the same issue. The hope is that the young participants will gain a new perspective by simply talking to each other and challenging preconceived notions and beliefs. Perspectiva's first segment was recorded in the divided city of Mostar. Once praised as the most multicultural city in Bosnia, Mostar today is a deeply divided community, simmering with hatred and fear. The first episode sent shockwaves across the Balkans, as young Muslim Bosniaks and Catholic Croats each spoke openly about their beliefs, many for the first time. In a subsequent episode, a Catholic teenager, Anto, after listening to the testimonies of his Muslim counterparts, journeyed across Mostar's famous Old Bridge to visit the Muslim side of his city for the first time in his life. The response to Anto's story was huge. Our Sarajevo bureau was inundated with messages. Many viewers expressed concern that the prejudices they saw in the Mostar teenagers were not inherited from their parents, but were deliberately cultivated by politicians intent on maintaining Bosnia's ethnically divided power structure.
Te mržnje su započeli prije dosta godina I to se dovoljno udubilo u podsvijest ljudi da se to više ne može ispraviti.
Perspectiva has proven very popular on social networks, generating intense conversations with tens of thousands of comments on Facebook. Over 33 national, regional, and local TV stations in Bosnia, Serbia, and Montenegro broadcast Perspectiva each week.
In addition to our pool of highly talented journalists, RFERL has an outstanding team of techies, innovators, and designers, serving not only RFERL, but much of USIM. They are the brains behind our shared Pangea content management system, and much more. Pangea Digital Director Aladin Telalagic will brief us on 2015 and future initiatives. Aladin.
Thank you, John. 2015 is a banner year for Pangea Digital. Most notably, we have launched 38 RFERL and 44 VOA websites on the mobile responsive design. We have also built Direct, a live HD affiliate distribution platform. Let's take a look at these and other innovative product design and developed by Pangea Digital team for USIM journalists.
Responsive web design is one code base that is built in a smart way to work seamlessly anywhere. Small screens and large, fast networks and slow, new devices and old. And in our case, it has to work in 60 languages across 7 different brands. Quite a complex and unique challenge, but we have worked hard to develop an innovative solution. Most mobile sites are launched, and we are on track to have all desktop sites switched this time next year. Another new product is RFERL Direct, an affiliate distribution platform. Affiliates can search, preview, and download video and audio content produced by language services. Working together with the BBG, we have big plans for Direct. In September, VOA, MBN, RFA, and OCB content will also be available. Live streaming, newsletter blasts, breaking news, editor's choice, and infographics are also in our roadmap. Always seeking to innovate, our team designed a smart TV app that delivers RFERL video and audio programs directly to living room televisions. It will be available on Samsung TVs this month. We expect to include VOA services and add more platforms such as Apple TV and Google Chromecast. Our team also migrated all VOA video and audio content production and distribution from Washington, D.C. to Prague. Now, via Pangea, VOA language services can live stream audio and video on any device, which was not available on the old system. This is a major improvement for VOA. For the fourth year in a row, we have been recognized internationally for our work. Our Pangea Go video streaming app was a finalist for the 2015 GMA Awards, the highest honor for mobile products. There are exciting plans for the future. We are designing 2 mobile applications for current time, plus expanding Pangea's functionality to include a media asset management system. Closely integrated with professional TV studio equipment, this technology represents the core of any modern broadcasting organization. Our hardworking and dedicated team is instrumental toward the success of USIM Digital.
As part of RFERL's concerted effort to move more fully into video and TV, we've brought on new talent to help us reach the next level. We were very pleased to have Susan Jackson come on over from VOA to Prague to help us launch Current Time in the fall. Susan's expertise, enthusiasm, and can-do spirit quickly impressed us. We are pleased to have her now at RFERL as our Director of Video and Tech Ops. Susan will now share our video strategy. Susan.
Thank you, John. It's a great time to be at RFERL, and we operate in 28 languages, and as you can see from our coverage map, we've got 24 countries and 18 bureaus, and many of these bureaus are quite robust, very large, and active. Our footprint stretches from the Balkans to Pakistan, and as was mentioned earlier, we've got more than 1,000 journalists. This makes us one of the most comprehensive news operations in the world. And in our target area, many Western news organizations have scaled back or completely pulled out, and that makes RFERL the leading authoritative news source for many people in many regions. Our boots on the ground and our strong journalism are our greatest assets. Let's take a look at our strategy going forward.
From war zones to the halls of power, from the Balkans to the border of China, RFERL is producing a rapidly increasing amount of video.
By February, the fighting had gotten so...
In addition to U.S. international media, at least 15 international news organizations receive our daily video roundup, including the BBC, CNN, and Reuters. Now, 15 bureaus shoot video in the field. 9 bureaus have studios. There are 3 studios currently in Prague, with 3 more planned. Our strategy going forward is investing to better leverage all of our content. That means connecting the bureaus to each other, connecting Prague to the bureaus, and connecting RFERL to the world. We're not just building for today, we're building for the future. We're creating a news network of journalists that will not be dependent on physical bureaus that can be shut down by authoritarian regimes. We are building a video and studio production system to manage all of our rapidly growing content, both in Prague and in our bureaus. That content will feed our growing number of TV programs, as well as web and social media platforms. We've got the room to grow to keep up with our expanding video production. We plan 2 studios and control rooms. The largest will give us the capability to go live 24/7 in a news emergency. Our other studios will be less sophisticated, giving us a wide range of production options. Our competition is slick, and we want to stay competitive in the markets where we broadcast.
Right here, National Live from Moscow with me, Marina Joshi.
We've hired top-notch talent, and we are aggressively training.
Here at RFERL, we are faced with new opportunities and new requirements. And that creates new pressures, but we think that the strategy we've just outlined here will work, and it will reach more people on more platforms with news and information that will really make a difference in their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Last year, Nainat and I outlined a vision for RFERL to be leader not just in modern programming and investigative reporting, but to be on the cutting edge of digital innovation and to kickstart our video and TV production capacity here in Prague.
Our audiences across Russia and its periphery had tuned into our radio, TV reports and live streams for a professional source of news information in an environment that is saturated by Kremlin propaganda. Our Ukrainian service anti-corruption TV show Schemes and other investigative reporting continues to hold government officials accountable and spotlights issues of concern in the fledgling state. Audiences in Iran now have around-the-clock TV news updates to the morning and early afternoon hours. Last August, we had TV studios in Moscow, Tbilisi, Yerevan, and in Prague. Today we have 5 more: Kiev, Minsk, Chisinau, and 2 additional in Prague. Dushanbe and Bishkek are soon to follow.
According to Reuters statistics, RFERL videos were carried by 800 television stations in 60 countries. From the Balkans to Afghanistan and Pakistan, RFERL services have been closely following the flow of foreign fighters to Iraq and Syria. Our English language blog, Under the Black Flag, is responsible for 8% of the site's overall traffic. Tens of thousands of Uzbeks have come to our digital platforms to express their aspirations for Uzbekistan's political future.
In Afghanistan and Pakistan, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty has also focused on social media outreach and video, continuing to serve as an invaluable platform for civil society. RFERL websites are responsible for about 50% of all USM web traffic. And we are on the cusp of launching new digital and social media initiative for our journalists to join Russian-speaking audience on their own preferred platforms. This is the model we hope to apply to other parts of our broadcast region.
There is always more work to be done, but I think you will agree that we are well on our way to making this vision a reality. The task before us now is to manage our growth wisely and smartly, to actively go into the digital space and to continue the work towards realizing our video and TV strategy and leveraging all of our content. Please note, as an aside, radio will continue and has continued to be an important market for us. In many of our markets is an important platform for us. We are excited about the future. RFERL is a company that has undergone tremendous change, but several things have remained constant. Our dedication to our mission, our extraordinary network of journalists in the field and here in Prague and in DC, and our agility.
This video is from Yerevan. Our Armenian service was not seen doing what we are supposed to do, providing multimedia coverage of the so-called electric Yerevan protest movement against utility price hikes in Armenia these days. In the last 7 days, the service coverage was viewed over 3.8 million views on its YouTube channel alone. And the country has 2.5 million citizens. But please, do not be mistaken. Today we have protests in Armenia, wars in Ukraine, Middle East, terrorism attacks in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Tomorrow the crisis might occur in Russia, Moldova, Belarus, Central Asia, and Balkans are waiting for its time again. And we will be there to give to our audience facts and truth. We will be giving them choice. It looks like they like it, because our audience, as John said at the beginning, increased last year for about 30%. We will count on your support. We thank U.S. Congress for their support in the year ahead, and we continue innovating and remaining a trustworthy voice for radio, TV, video, and social media, wherever our audience wants to reach us. This is thanks to the leadership of these people that are sitting here in the row. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your attention. We are ready for your questions.
Thank you very, very much for a highly informative and very interesting presentation. And I want to thank, on behalf of my fellow governors, each member of your team who worked so hard to make this a reality. So thank you so much. Are there any other questions from the governors? No questions? Karen's still on the phone? Well, hearing no questions, I think your presentation was so comprehensive. We are no questions to be asked. But I also want to express our gratitude to John and Nadad for and your entire team for a wonderful couple of days, for your hospitality, for your information, for your education. It was, I know, speaking personally, it was eye-opening in a very positive way for me on this visit to Prague. So thank you very much. Right.
I actually do have a question. Again, thank you for a great presentation, and would echo Governor Kempner. It's been a fantastic couple of days here to see what all of you do in the places where you do it. Much of RFE-RL's work is in areas where the voice of truth is not heard, where repressive regimes attempt to monopolize the media. But in other places, it's a different story. And I just wanted to ask about Radio Azadi in Afghanistan, which can testify to it as an immensely popular service among Afghans. But of course, Afghanistan has a free media environment, and indeed, one of our priorities out there was trying to assist the development of indigenous media. And as you know, they've got some pretty good stuff out there, Tolo in particular. So could you just describe for me how, in a country like Afghanistan, Azadi sets its priorities so that it is not either duplicating what is already out there in a free media environment or retarding the development of an indigenous media? I think I know the answer, but I'd like to hear it authoritatively. So.
I believe you know the answer, but there is somebody else who can do it much better than I can. Hashim, please join me here. Our colleague who is director of Afghan Service. Can you please answer to Governor Crocker question?
Thank you very much for this question. Well, during these years, we have also supported the indigenous media in a way, and we have supported them. But the matter of the fact is that we were focused on the truth. We were focused on real reports that comes from the country, from the provinces. One fact is playing a very major role. We have reporters in all major provinces of Afghanistan, and we are reporting very, very timely and very accurately. Many of the indigenous medias did not have this possibility, this capability. They did not have reporters everywhere in the country. From the other side, thanks to BBG, we have 15 FM stations in different parts of the country, plus a very powerful AM station that make it possible that Radio Azadi can be listened to in all corners of the country. So this is why this has given us, this has put us in a better position than the other media outlets. They are also working very hard on that to be reached everywhere in the country. but so far they have not made it. The other thing that we are enjoying is that this accurate information has made it possible that the people trust us a lot. So this is why when they want to know about the country, about the happenings, what is happening in the country, they listen to Radio Azadi. Of course, nowadays, we have also the indigenous media. They are also doing a good job. But still, Azadi is on the top of the media.
Just one sentence to end, if I can say. We are serving there, Hashim, I guess you agree, as a kind of public radio station in Afghanistan. We are setting the bar for other media outlets.
I actually have one quick question. We've heard a great deal over the last few days about Russian television viewing habits. And based on what we've been told, that people don't really watch satellite television. It's all based on getting on a cable network or a cable package. In light of that, is it still valuable to have Russian satellite, or would those resources be better off spent somewhere else?
First answer is we don't have Russian satellites.
You said what we talked about, you had a satellite. You don't, I think you had satellite programming into Russia.
We are talking about Russia periphery.
I think I can maybe shed some light on that.
Go ahead.
Their programming is carried on one of our most popular satellites, Hotbird. Hotbird has visibility over just about all of Europe, all of the Middle East, and largely into Russia and Eastern Europe as well. Because we own an entire transponder on it, because it's the most cost-effective way of operating, there is actually very little to no additional cost associated with carrying their programming there.
Great.
So that if it is marginally effective, it's still a very good price-performance ratio. So for us, it's not additional cost. So if there's anybody out there that is watching direct to home that wants to use what are now readily available satellite dishes that can be readily purchased in the market for $30, $45, $50, then they can tune into us. If they don't, then it's no loss, really, because we already have a sunken cost.
Great, thank you. I know Ambassador Armstrong had a comment you wanted to make.
Thank you for the promotion, but no.
Merely
a
Governor Armstrong.
Merely a governor. So, in my 5-minute report, I'm sorry, doesn't have anything to do with RFE. Do you want to release John and Nana? They're still standing there.
John, Nana, thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, go ahead. Mine has nothing to do with the.
Yeah, first let me just thank you both. That was an extraordinary presentation. It's been a remarkable, inspiring trip for all of us here. The first time I was in the building was about 5 years ago, and the level of energy, dedication, is no comparison. It felt like it was a legacy operation that was starting to fade and had played its major role in history. That is clearly, God willing, not going to be the case. I was wondering, we had this fascinating presentation yesterday on the panel discussion at the old Parliament building, and Michael Zantowski talked about the battle between narratives being critical, that people don't believe in truth anymore, and that's the major challenge we face in trying to get the message out and to spread the truth. And I'm wondering if you're seeing an evolution at all in the way Russian propaganda operates in response to current time or other things you're doing. Have you seen, now that we have become more visible or getting more of an audience, are you seeing any evolution in what the Russians are doing, or is it remaining static and though quite effective?
I personally see only a little bit more aggressiveness, and personally think it will continue. But we have expert here, Irina Lagunina, Director of Russian Service, who is Russian speaker and who is, of course, responsible for our operation in Russia.
Thank you, Nanette. Yes, I have to say that over the last year, the radio was under more and more attack from state television, different channels. We have been a subject of a documentary called Anatomy of Treason last year, so traitors are we. Then there were several reports that actually dealt with current time that you saw. There were also several documentary programs and talk shows on Russian NTV that used to be an independent Russian TV channel and now belongs to Gazprom, that were completely built on our video production. They just took our footage from our talk shows and used it to portray the kind of the ugly face of American propaganda and stuff like this. So yes, it has been increasing over the last year, especially since the start of since the annexation of Crimea and the start of the conflict in Ukraine. Several of our correspondents were directly targeted in those programs, mostly Moscow stars, talk show stars that we have were shown on the air on Russian television. But that's one side. The other side is, of course, direct attacks through emails and internet. We had 2 investigative stories this year that we worked on for half a year. We showed the true scale of the Russian troll operations. So there is a building in St. Petersburg that is called the Ministry of Truth, which actually trains trolls, and we got a person from inside there with the documents showing how different units of trolls attack different, even tiny little local newspapers and media outlets in Russia. It's not only Moscow and St. Petersburg, it's really even local press. Anything that has any significance in Russia is under attack of those people. So we published all this, and I have to say that for 4 days we were under such an attack that I cannot tell you. I had to put 4 people working all round the clock to delete all what was posted on our pages, all platforms, Twitter, Facebook, site, etc. So we had to blog, by the way, at that day's comments on YouTube because it was impossible to moderate this. So yes, we see that they become more and more aggressive, more and more intrusive, but you also have to understand that Radio Liberty Russian Service right now is the only standing free media in the country, because even though there are outlets that are more or less free, they are under pressure, and some of them have to maneuver in order to deliver their message to the public, to the audience, and several more will be crashed recently. I don't know to tell here which ones, but we know it. So it's going to be a terrible loss in terms of newspapers outlets in Russia. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, thank you very much. John, did you want to say something?
I just want to say, I think now to the visitors here, the board, anyone else here visiting us for the first time, I think now you understand why I say in D.C. I cannot do RFE justice in Washington. You have to come visit us here and in our bureaus, because that's where you see what we're doing. So thank you for coming, for the interest and the attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you, John Naynot and RFERL. I just wanted to make a quick comment. Thank you, Chairman. I was remiss in my VOA report in thanking VOA and RFA and State Department who made it a terrific trip. Kaylu and Libby, I visited both of your offices in D.C. for the service desks, the services to get the briefings before State. Dan, thank you for facilitating that. I visited State Department, and then, of course, out in the field, Bill Baum, the EAP service chief. I dragged him along, and we had very long days. And then Antti Lohm in Myanmar, and Chris Decker, the Cambodia chief, and then Franz in Indonesia. So I want to thank the bureaus, and I want to thank the services and the entities. So I really appreciate, and of course, State. So it was a really terrific trip, and it. I didn't want to ignore that, so thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. The next board meeting will be held at the headquarters of Middle East Broadcasting Networks in Springfield, Virginia on October 8th, 2015. The meeting will include a review of NBN. Chairman Shell works closely with other governors and the BBG Executive Director, Susie Carroll, to develop the agenda for each board meeting. In the coming weeks, governors are encouraged to give us input regarding other topics that they may like to see addressed at the next meeting. And since we have already officially adjourned as a board, I just want to thank you all for coming and look forward to continuing to learn everything we can to be helpful to your mission. Thank you.